Everybody. Thanks for being here again today. Continuing with that idea of intention and maybe making some slight changes as we come into our new day today. So let's just take a moment to settle into our body this morning and without any judgment or expectations. Just take a note of what does the body feel like right here, right now? What are the spaces that might be feeling really loose and easy? What are the spaces in the body that feel a little bit more heavy? So just taking our time here to settle in. Excuse me, letting go of anything that we have brought into the day. Bringing ourselves present in the here and now. And then we'll bring our awareness to the breath. No need to shape anything yet, just kind of saying good morning to the breath. Noticing if our breath is deep or shallow, fast or slow. And no judgment, no need to change anything, just bringing awareness. And as we continue to settle in for the day, I'm going to read you a little excerpt from a book here. And the title of this is There's Magic in the Unknown. Sometimes we're out of ideas. We think and think, but nothing comes. We don't know what's next. It feels like we're at a dead end, but we're not. That void, that dreaded blank spot is really a glorious, magical place. Sometimes we have to run out of ideas before we can open up to any new ones. The reason we can't see any further is because our ideas are limited by the past, by past experiences, by what life has been like before. Our future doesn't have to be limited by our past. Life knows that. Now we can learn it too. We're not at a dead end. We've reached a new beginning. Now is a time of magic. Let the universe take your hand and show you things you've never seen before. Now, at last, you're open and vulnerable enough to begin. Celebrate the magic, the mystery of the unknown. Celebrate the miracles that will certainly come. So having that idea in mind of letting go of the past, and just because something has been that way in the past doesn't mean that it has to be our present or our future. So what is that intention you want to set for the day? What is that thought or affirmation that you would like to set for your day today? And maybe we embrace the magical unknown of placing that out in the universe and seeing what happens. So whatever that intention is for you today, see it in your mind's eye. Repeat it to yourself a few times so we can keep coming back to it throughout our practice. And seeing how it feels in the body when you say it to yourself. With that intention in mind, we're going to come into the breath and we're going to start to shape the breaths. We're going to come into an equal ratio breathing this morning. So all we're going to do is just count the inhale. No need to force it, but just count for yourself. Excuse me. Maybe our inhale is a 3 count, maybe it's a 2 count, maybe it's a 4 count. Whatever it is, just take note of the number. How long is your inhale? And then just let it go. Again, counting the inhale and letting it go. One more time, counting our inhale and exhaling. And this time we're going to bring our focus to the exhale and taking this opportunity to count our exhale. So again, maybe our exhale is a 2 count, maybe it's a 3, 4, etc. Just paying attention to the length of the exhale. We're finding our inhale and then counting the exhale. Finding our inhale and our exhale. And one more time, finding our inhale and exhale. And now taking whichever number was higher. So if our inhale was a 3 and our exhale was a 4, we're going to start to gently extend that inhale to a 4, and then the exhale will be a 4 as well, or whatever number feels comfortable in your body. So whenever we're ready, excuse me, whenever we're ready, we'll find our equal ratio breath. So even number of counts on the inhale, and then even number of counts on the exhale. Breathing in through the nose, counting to ourselves, maybe taking a moment to hold the breath, and then we'll find the exhale. And maybe a moment of holding to find the inhale. So taking your time here with the breath, feeling that inhale and exhale, counting in an easy way to yourself. And whenever we take our inhale, let's focus on that intention. What can we bring in to our day on that inhale, focusing on it? And on that exhale, we just soften our focus on that intention. So maybe let go of the intention just for that moment. And then again, bringing that focus to our intention for the day on our inhale. And just allowing that to soften on the exhale. And one more breath, finding that inhale. Feeling that intention, bringing that into our bodies. And then just softening the focus on the exhale. And then we can open the eyes and let that go for right now. Awesome. All right, so we are going to transition onto our backs here. So take your time. Stuff around here. All right, so we are going to lay it all the way down on our back. Excuse me. But we're going to interlace our fingers. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So interlace your fingers, and then you're going to place them right behind your neck here. So we're going to have a little activation of our vagus nerve. We did a little bit of that last week with the eyes side to side. So adding on another little exercise here and just some general information. The vagus nerve is kind of the nerve that we can tap into our rest and digest part of our nervous system, or the fancy parasympathetic nervous system. So this is a calming exercise, and it also can just kind of get us into balance, especially as we're starting a new day. So what we're going to do is, again, having those fingers interlaced behind the head, we'll just bend the knees if that's comfortable, relaxing through the shoulders, And we're going to take just our eyes either to the right or to the left, whichever one feels more natural to start with. So keeping the head in alignment here. And all we're going to do is we're going to allow the eyes to look to the side, so right or left. And we're just going to breathe here. We're going to be here for about 30 seconds or so. So just allowing the eyes to be looking in the direction that we have chosen this morning. And noticing if we have any, oh, excuse me, there's my yawning, any softening, any extra swallowing as well. Because if we notice any of that, then we definitely know that we've tapped into that rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. So just taking a nice easy breath here. And maybe we even come back into that equal ratio breathing. Or maybe we even bring in that focus on the intention on the inhale. And then the softening. And then we'll allow the eyes to relax. Maybe we even blink the eyes a couple times. Maybe we want to close the eyes. Noticing how that feels in the body. Now, again, this might be super subtle. So if we're not feeling a dramatic shift, that's okay. Just allowing your body to absorb whatever it needed to do today. And then we'll take the eyes on over to the other direction. So same thing, just allowing the eyes to look in the opposite direction. And bringing the focus to the breath. Maybe we can invite that equal ratio of breath if that felt good in the body. Again, noticing if we have any like sighs, those yawns, extra saliva in the mouth, all signs of that parasympathetic nervous system saying good morning. And maybe we can bring our focus into that intention as well in that inhale. And relax it out. And then we'll allow the eyes to come back to center. Again, allowing our body to absorb any shifts, any changes there. And then we'll release the hands. We'll just place the hands down to the side and just an easy little rock of the neck side to side. Just moving easy through that neck. So giving a little massage to the back of the head. Nice and easy. Relax the shoulders. Checking in with our breath. And then we'll come back to center, and then we're going to bring our knees on into the chest. So grabbing behind the knees, getting a stretch to that low back. So coming into the flexion of the spine here. Noticing how it feels as we bring the knees a little bit closer to our chest. And of course, if we want to do any rocking side to side, giving a little massage to that sacrum, we can do that. Maybe even little circles. So finding any movement patterns that our body is asking for this morning. Moving side to side. And maybe we start to move in a way that we haven't before. So you can come back to like a figure eight maybe of those hips. See how that feels. Going in both directions as well. Again, kind of just firing up that brain this morning. Giving ourselves a move in a novel way. Just because it's been the thing in the past doesn't mean that has to be our present or our future. And then we'll come into a leg extension. So we can either plant one foot down, so keeping one leg up, or we can extend that leg all the way down into the mat, noticing how it feels to stretch to the front of that leg. Just taking a moment here, finding a big inhale. And a long exhale. And then we'll switch the leg. So bringing the opposite leg in and then extending that on out. Or again, we can always have that foot planted as well. So finding this leg extension on the opposite side of the body. And taking it slow as we're warming up, getting into these hips, stretching through the front of that leg. And then we'll switch. So we'll find inhale and exhale. And then again, switching it out, inhaling and exhaling. So moving at our own tempo. And if we like, we can also extend that leg out long too. It doesn't have to actually connect to the floor. So depending on how we're feeling in the body, How much of that core activation are we ready to do? A little bit more core work today, just slightly, but so moving with our breath, moving with that intention, moving in our own rhythm this morning, taking our time. And then once we've evened ourselves out, we're going to bring both knees back into that chest again. And we're going to wrap the shoulders down and back and just allowing the head to come up towards the knees. Coming into more of a ball, a little bit more flexion here. And then release it down. And again, take an inhale. Exhale, roll and curl. Inhale to lower. Exhale to curl. One more. Inhale to lower. Exhale to curl. Wonderful. Inhale down. Let's plant those feet, planting the palms down as well. Wrapping the shoulders down and back. We're going to come into a little bridge here. So pressing into our hands, pressing into those forearms, pressing into all four corners of our feet. Big toe, pinky toe, inside the heel, outside the heel. And slowly start to peel the pelvis on up, reaching up one vertebra at a time. You can imagine that we're squeezing a ball in between our thighs here. So we maintain that nice strong pelvic floor, starting to engage the core a little bit as we start to open up through the chest. And then on our next exhale, we'll lower ourselves all the way back down to one vertebra at a time. And again, inhaling to peel, press down to lift up, finding that expansion, extension to the spine. And then on our exhale, we'll slowly bring ourselves down. One vertebra at a time, back to the floor. And again, inhaling to lift. Moving through our range of motion this morning, and again, letting go of any competition or expectation of what our bridge should look like. As we exhale, we'll bring ourselves all the way back down. So we're going to find a little flow for ourselves. Bringing the knees on in, we'll find our inhale. Exhale to curl. Planting the feet, finding our inhale. Feeling the pelvis on up. Exhale down. Finding the inhale. And then exhale, curl. Planting the feet, inhaling up. Exhale down. So moving through our own tempo here, but just coming into flexion of the spine. And then we'll come into extension of the spine. And again, moving with our breath, finding that exhale as we curl, relaxing through the shoulders, planting the feet and lifting that pelvis. So finding maybe a new pattern to moving through that spine, moving through our range of motion, okay? So you don't have to make everything super big, but how does that feel to start to move in more of a flow with our spine? I'm taking one more version, whatever that is for you. Feeling that pelvis reach on up. And then pressing ourselves back down. Awesome. And then, so wherever we are, we can just rock side to side with those knees, coming in with a little windshield wiper. And it just hit the wall. So a little side to side, get a little rotation through that back. Adjusting here. All right. So getting a little bit more into our brain here and some patterning. We're gonna reach. I'm gonna use, I'm gonna say a leg, so whether that's what shows up on video, you can listen to my voice here. So I'm gonna start lifting up my left leg. Now we can have a straight leg, we can have a bent leg, foot can be pointed flexed, relaxed, whatever we wanna do. So we're just finding the extension of our left leg up towards the sky. And then we're gonna allow our right arm to float up. So we have opposite arm as leg here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cross the body. So my right arm is gonna come over towards my left shoulder, and then my left leg is coming over towards the right, keeping our hips nice and planted here. So we're making kind of an X. So from your viewpoint, you might be able to see an X in your body. Just a little stretch here, and then we're going to return back down to center. Then we're going to switch it. So now we're going to take the right leg on up, again, bending the knee as much as we'd like, planting those hips super strong here, and lifting the left arm. So opposite arm as leg. Then we're going to reach across the body. So left arm reaches towards the right shoulder as the right leg twists over or reaches over towards the left. So again, we might be able to see a little X here for ourselves. Still super planted through our shoulders. Then return back to center and then come back down. So we're gonna go a little bit faster. So we're gonna find our inhale to lift, exhale to cross, inhale back center, exhale down. Inhale to lift, exhale to cross, inhale to lift and lower back down. Again, go up and cross and lift and lower and reach it up, crossing the body, lift it up and down and reach. Inhale, exhale to cross, inhale to lift and lower back down and reach. So we're just kind of starting to fire up both sides of the brain right now. One more time, right and left. So anytime we cross over the body, we're actually crossing through the corpus callosum in the brain, which is the connective tissue that connects both hemispheres of the brain. So good little movement to do, especially in the morning as we start to wake ourselves up. All right, coming back down. Awesome. Again, you can invite any shifting side to side here, maybe some pelvic tilts or rolls. So just kind of checking in with the hips here. We're going to do one more exercise here on our backs. So again, opposite leg and opposite arm. Now we're going to get a little bit more fancy, coming into some circular motion, okay? And I'm going to see if my brain will do it this morning. So we'll start with the left leg up and the right arm up again. And what we're going to do is we're going to bend the elbow and the knee, and we're going to push away and then float it up. So we're going to bend and push and lift and bend and push and lift. One more time, bend and push and lift. Awesome. Let's lower that down. Take a second here. If you have any tightness in your hip flexors, we can always make that movement smaller. All right, so now we're going to go in the opposite direction of that. So we're going to extend the leg out and extend the right arm, and then we're going to lift the legs like we're bringing something in towards ourselves. So we bring it up and in. And think about bringing that leg up and in, and again, up and in. And we'll plant that on down. Wonderful. All right, now we're going to go on the opposite side. Extending the right leg on up and left arm in. So now we're going to think about pressing away and peel it on up. Press away and peel it on up. Press away and peel it on up. And press away and peel it on up. Awesome. And we can lower that back down again, shifting, releasing any tension in the hips. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction. So now we're thinking about pulling something towards us and reach it out. Pulling something towards us and reach it out. Bring it up and in and reach it up and in. Awesome. All right, letting that go for a second. Now we're going to really start to make it fun. We're going to go in each direction. So we're going to go, we're going to go left leg in, right leg in, and then we're going to go left leg out, right leg out. What? All right, we'll see what we can do here. And if you mess up, it's all good. We need to have a sense of humor too. See what happens in our body. All right, so we're going to start with the left leg and the right arm. And let's actually start with the leg up. So here we're going to think about pressing something away with that foot. Here we go. So press away, lift the leg, and lower back down. Now we're going to go to the right leg. Woo! And press away, and lift it back up, and come down. Now we're going to go with the left leg. Scoop it up, and bring yourself down. And then with the right leg, scoop it up and bring yourself down. Did you all survive? I hope so. You ready to do it one more time? Here we go. So we're going to lift the left leg. Now, when we lift the left leg, think about pressing something away. What do you not need today? And then we'll bring it in and then reach you with the right leg. Press something away. What do you not need? Let it go. Then we're going to go the opposite way with the left. What do we want to bring into our day? And one more time, what do you want to bring into your day? All right, we'll let that one go. It's a little fun brain teaser this morning. And then we'll rock those knees side to side again. Seeing how your brain feels. Maybe you feel a little bit more awake. Or maybe you're just laughing at yourself because coordination is something super fun to do at 7 a.m. All right, so we can just pedal the knees if we like here, relaxing through the shoulders and letting that all go. Checking in with ourselves, seeing how we feel. Any shifts, any new awareness here. All right, and then when we're ready, we're just gonna roll onto our side. We are gonna come all the way up to all fours. So take your time though, of course, no need to rush, allowing your head to be relaxed and to come on up. Here we are, okay. I'm just gonna shift this way. So we are gonna meet, like I said, in all fours. So taking our time here as we start to shift forward. And we can just rock side to side, feeling all 10 fingers into the floor. Maybe a little shift here. All right, so finding again just new patterns in the body and the way that we move in our body too, as kind of the way to physically invite some new intention in and just kind of create some new neural pathways within the brain. So we'll plant the hands and let's just come into an easy cat-cow. So dropping that belly. Finding that extension through the belly here. Relaxing through the neck, finding that inhale. And then on the exhale, we'll round ourselves on through, pressing that back up towards the sky. Inhale as we drop that belly on down. Feeling nice and easy through the shoulders, really pressing down with those hands. Exhale as we round on through. And again, inhale to drop the belly. Exhale to round. And again, inhale to drop. And exhale to round. Beautiful. And let's just take a moment to stretch back into that child's pose, reaching those arms on out. Maybe a little shift side to side, stretching through the low back and the sacrum. Find an easy inhale and a long exhale. One more time. Big inhales, we come on back up. All right, we are going to be coming into some lunges. So if you need a little extra padding for your knee, you can always double up your mat here, which is what I'm going to do. So we're going to protect, if you need, a little, like I said, just a little more padding. And we're going to bring left or right, whichever leg we want to, forward. And we're just going to start in a 90-degree angle with both of our legs here. Relaxing those shoulders down and back. Just seeing how it feels to be lifted right now. So energy is reaching through the top of our heads as our pelvis is nice and heavy. Awesome. And then we're going to allow the pelvis to tilt backwards. So I'm going to overemphasize this with my hands. So we're thinking about pelvis tilting back. So we have an arch in the back, and then we're going to allow that pelvis to tilt underneath just slightly. So we're getting a little bit more of a stretch to the front of that quad. Relaxing the shoulders down and back. Awesome, and then release it, finding that arch again, finding that extra arch, and then a slight little tuck of the pelvis. Beautiful. And then we'll release that. We're going to place the hands down by our leg. And we're going to allow ourselves to float here, or I should say flow. So a little flow forwards and backwards. Now, when we come into the forward lunge, we want to make sure that that knee is right over that ankle. So if we need to adjust ourselves, we can do that. So we just find our own little flow, keeping a bend through that knee as we start to move through the hips. Finding our breath here, that inhale and exhale, and maybe we can even find our equal ratio breath again. And as we're starting to move here, again, thinking about any of those old patterns, a lot of that gets stuck into our hips actually because of our lovely psoas muscle here. So as we start to kind of move in a gentle way and more of a flow, we can start to break up some of those patterns, some of that stress or memories that we may have in those hips. So taking our time here and moving in a way that feels good. Now again, it doesn't have to just be linear. We don't have to just go forwards and backwards. Maybe we start to bring in some more circles. Just watching again that that knee is just tracking over that ankle. So always just moving in a way that feels good for us. Bringing that awareness to our breath. So moving through the hips, and then we're gonna add the arms. We can plant the opposite arm down, and we're gonna make a circle with the other arm. So pressing back. As we come on forward, we reach that arm up and out. So waking up that shoulder joint. And press back. And again, maybe we open up a little bit more at the elbow. Maybe that feels better. So again, moving with our rhythm of the breath. So you might be going slower. You might be going faster. And then we're going to switch up the arm. Now the arm is going to swoop back to front as we come back through. And again, we go back to front. One more time, coming back to the front. Wonderful. Plant that hand. We'll take a little lunge here, stretching through front of that hip. Wonderful. And we're going to come back into our child's pose. Take a moment to come off those wrists. We can allow our elbows to touch as we reach our hands back towards our scapula, getting a little tricep stretch here. Dropping that head. Let's bring our awareness back to our intention that we set for ourselves. What was it that we brought to our practice this morning? And when we go into the other side for our lunge flow, is there anything that you could do that would bring you one step closer to your intention today? So how can we bring that intention into this little lunge flow? It might take some serious creative thinking, but I think you can do it. All right, let's come on back up. Switching to the other side. So bringing the opposite leg forward. And then again, we're just going to start with our 90-degree angle here. Seeing how it feels on this side. Balancing might be different. Again, we are asymmetrical beings wishing to be living a symmetrical life. So we got to work with what we got here. All right, so we'll find that arch of the back to start. So again, we're finding that super arch through the low back and allowing that pelvis to tilt forward. And then we're going to allow the pelvis to tuck underneath to find a little bit more stretch to the front of that psoas muscle. Feeling that stretch, breathing, and then we'll arch it on back again. So overemphasizing that arch, and then bring it underneath ourselves, finding that touch position. Relaxing the shoulders down and back. Nice and easy with our breath. Let's take a long inhale. Maybe we bring in that equal ratio breath. Finding the exhale for ourselves. Wonderful. And then we'll adjust ourselves. So when we come on down the side, knee is going to track over that ankle, placing the hands on one side of the foot. And then we'll start to flow for ourselves. So coming on back again, bending that knee as much as we need to. And of course, if at any point it's too much on your knees, by all means, you can come down and take a break. So finding your flow here, finding an inhale and an exhale. Moving at the tempo that feels good for you. And again, we don't always have to stay in that linear pattern. So what happens when we start to veer off a little bit? We make bigger circles. Again, as long as we're protecting that knee joint. So whenever we come forward, knee over that ankle joint. So just as you need. But again, what happens when we start to move in more of a circular pattern or kind of that snaky quality, or maybe even some version of figure 8? Starting to change up those neural pathways in the brain as we start to do that within our bodies too. Again, that's how we make changes. That's how we can set new intentions, set new goals, all that good stuff. Start with the body just by physically moving in a way that we don't normally. All right, then we'll add in the arm, and we'll swoop that arm up towards the front of the mat, and then we're going to press ourselves as we circle it. And again, finding an inhale, exhale back. One more time, inhaling front, exhaling back. Awesome, switching up that arm, so now the arm's going to reach to the back and front. Again, we can always have a bent elbow. That feels better for our shoulder joints. Just had a nice hip hop there. And then one more time, big circle back. And we'll take a little moment here to take a stretch. Feeling that through the front of the hip. Some, and then we'll come on back. Going into all fours. If we want to take child's, we absolutely can. We'll do a little rock side to side. Maybe we even have a little stretch here so we can take one arm and we can thread on through. And just a little stretch to that shoulder. And then switching to the other side, reaching that arm on through. And then coming back to center. Awesome, coming to all fours, and we're gonna come into our first downward facing dog. Just my mat here. All right, so tucking the toes underneath ourselves, reaching, or excuse me, allowing those shoulders to wrap down and back super strong here, and lift the pelvis. Ooh, okay, here we are this morning. Wow. All right, and let's take our dog for the walk. So just pressing one heel down at a time. Ooh, seeing how this feels this morning. Good morning, hamstrings. Hello. All right. So allowing our body to adjust to, again, just kind of a new frame of reference, a new perspective. I know I always notice how dirty it is underneath my couch at this moment. So maybe you also notice like, oh, I could do that today. But maybe it's just like, oh, right. It looks really funny to see our plant on the ceiling or our dog on the ceiling or whatever it is, right? Seems kind of silly, but that simple just perspective change in our visual view can really start to change up some stuff for us too. All right, here we go. We're gonna walk our feet again, crossing them on over. Cross, cross, cross as we meet at the top of our. All right, so hip width apart here, nice generous bend of the knees. Shaking that head, yes and no. Let it go. A little shimmy, shimmy, shake of the shoulders. Feeling super heavy, allowing that head just to drop on down. And we'll take our arms out to the side as we stretch ourselves all the way up. Oh, big, big stretch all the way to the sky here. Let's take a big stretch. Maybe a little lateral, so just a little stretch to the side and up. And stretch to the other side and up. Wonderful. And shake all of that out, seeing how we feel now. All right, so we'll stand in our mountain. Just taking a moment here to feel this, see how it feels in the body. How do we feel in our feet today? And we give a little side to side, maybe a little forwards and backwards, little circles, finding ourselves planted, super, super strong here in mountain for a moment. Just to check back in with ourselves. Let's bring that intention back. Yeah, back to our mind. What was that intention that we had for ourselves this morning? Feel it in the body, see it in the mind's eye. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have just a little bit of a wider stance here. So not like a full-on split this morning, but just a little bit wider than our hips. And we're going to come into a little bit of a standing flow, but we're going to start with making a figure eight with our arms. So we're going to have our arms together. We can go whatever direction we want. But we're going to go up to the diagonal, swoop it down, and then we're going to go up to the opposite diagonal. So we're making a literal figure eight. If we had paint on our hands, we would be able to see that figure eight pattern being painted in front of us. So we can get as big or as small as we like here. Maybe the hands start to do a little dance too. Can twinkle those fingers, right? So whatever it is, we're just allowing the arms to find that figure eight. And if you mess up, it's all good. This is not an easy thing to do this early in the morning or whenever you end up doing this practice again. Just to kind of, again, break up those typical forwards and backwards patterns that we have. What does it feel like to make more of a figure eight? And then we'll go the opposite direction. So wherever you are, stop. Go in the opposite direction. That's a challenge for me. Okay. And you know what? You might feel those little spots that like get kind of stuck, right? And that might be like, oh, okay, well, clearly that's a pattern It needs to be broken up a little bit. And as we go too, we can start to move through the hips. So we allow it to be a little bit more of a full flow side to side. Maybe we start to shift our weight. So play around with changing up the direction of your figure eight and allowing it to be a little bit bigger in the body if that feels right for us. And there's no perfect. Isn't that a relief? No perfect, only human. So seeing what it feels like for ourselves as we go through this little figure eight side to side. Changing up those patterns again. I'm sure most of us don't do this on a daily basis, but maybe you do. Maybe when you go to the grocery store today, just walk in and start like figure eighting around. I think the world would be a happier place if we would all do that. Here we are. All right. So allowing that just to let go, just allow ourselves to settle for a moment and see how that feels in the body. Obviously, if there's any movement we need to add into it, by all means we can. But just take a second. What did that feel like? How does that feel in the body now? Letting that all go. So, and we're going to come into feet together. And we're going to just take a little balance this morning, see how we're doing here. So we're going to come into our version of tree, and there's all different options. So we can have just the foot turning out and staying on the ground. We can have hands on our hips. We could have hands heart center. We could have them out, up. You could have them wherever you want, right? So play around with it. But if we want to have the foot up, maybe we come more towards the ankle. Maybe it's below the knee or above the knee. Just make sure that if we're above the knee, that we're not putting any pressure on the knee joint itself. So wherever we need to be this morning, let's just take a moment here to find our version of tree on whichever side we want as well. So we're super grounded through that standing leg. Big toe, pinky toe, inside the heel, outside the heel, wrapping those shoulders down and back, starting to feel that engagement of the core. So we're starting to slow everything down here. Bringing that awareness to the breath. Can we bring back that equal ratio breath? So inhaling, for example, 3, exhaling for 3. So find whatever that is for you today. And then just for fun, we're going to close our eyes. See what happens. All right. All right, gotta get a good laugh, right? All right, shake that out and change where you are on your mat. So if you were facing one direction, turn around or face the diagonal, whatever it is. Literally changing up our perspective, changing up our view, okay? So for the other side, so find a new place to stand. All right, here we go. Nice and grounded through those feet. So shifting our weight to the opposite foot. And again, finding your version of tree on this side. It could be the same. It could be different. Whatever it is, we just allow ourselves to embrace the asymmetry of it all. And finding our version of our arms on this side. It could be the same. Again, it could be different. But what does tree feel like on this side for ourselves as we're coming into a little bit of a balance for ourselves today? And wherever we are, let's bring that back to that equal ratio breath. So an inhale for 3, and exhale for 3. Or whatever your number is right now. And it might be different than it was at the beginning too. It's all good. No worries there. All right, can we bring that intention, our idea of what our day is going to be like? Can we bring that to our mind just for a quick second? Finding that for ourselves. Awesome. And then we got to close his eyes on this. What happens? Close the eyes for 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. We'll let that one go. All right. Good work. All right. Excuse me. Let's come back to the top edge of our mat. Plant those feet. Take a big swoop of the arms on up. Big stretch and relax it down. Let's lace or reach the hands behind us. Just a little chest expansion here. So feeling that heart space opening up. Turn towards you here. So feeling that big expression, that big stretch through the chest, and just allowing ourselves to settle in, feel that, absorb anything for our bodies. Awesome. Go. Big scoop with the arms on up. And exhale, bending those knees as we're gonna come back down to the floor. Yay, our floor friend. And coming down to our knees. And then we'll swoop the arms, the feet to the side. Coming onto the floor. All right, we gotta do one little boat just to activate that core just a tiny bit today so we can find our version of boat, whatever that is. Right? So this might be a great opportunity to bring in whatever that intention was for yourself this morning. So wrapping the shoulders down and back. I'm going to show you a bunch of different versions. We can place the hands behind us and maybe we start to lift one leg. Maybe we start to lift the other leg. Maybe we lift both legs. Maybe we feel it there. So there's that option. We could always have the hands behind the knees as well or on the hamstrings. Same thing, one leg or the other leg. We can wrap the shoulders down and back. We could do both legs again. We could have the arms out. Same thing, one leg, two legs. Or maybe you even want to extend the legs out. Woo! Get you going this morning. So whatever version feels right for us, right? And just because that's the version we have done in the past, that doesn't mean that that's the one we have to do today. So whatever it is, if you feel like you have to like give yourself a little bit of that push, maybe we go for something a little bit more challenging. Or maybe you're like, I always go for the most challenging thing. And today I need to take it a little bit softer. So whatever version you need this morning. So we'll find our boat pose and we'll just take a big inhale. Long exhale. Big inhale. And exhale. And the shoulders down and back. And let's just take a moment. Look at our feet in front of us. These amazing, amazing accessories, I'm going to call them today. These accessories that we have on our body have literally taken us everywhere we've ever gone in our lives. That little moment of gratitude for these feet down here. I'm going to send them some extra love always. One more inhale. And hold. Wonderful. All right, invite any movement that you need into your body before we come into our final Shavasana for today. We could do legs up the wall. You could always use a bolster to prop underneath yourself in any way. If you don't want to come all the way down to the floor, you can always sit. You could even stand if you like. So finding whatever position for the body that feels really good for us that we can just bring our awareness back in as we start to seal our practice today. Checking in with ourselves. Seeing how we feel. How are we feeling now compared to the beginning? And no judgments on ourselves, but just bringing that awareness. So making ourselves comfortable, we can close our eyes. Take a slow, deep breath and let go of any tension as we feel ourselves sinking into the surface we're resting on, becoming still more comfortable and relaxed. Take another slow, deep breath and release your thoughts, letting them drift far away. And take another slow, deep breath and know that in this moment, all is well. Envision a column of light extending down from the highest heavens, around and through us, going deep into the earth and experiencing ourselves lifting up on this column of light. Higher and higher we go until the earth is quite far in the distance. Continuing on, we feel drawn upward higher still into the heavenly realms, arriving finally at a beautiful sanctuary. The floor and the walls of the sanctuary are made of light, with the ceiling open to the heavens. Created by thought waves from on high, this is a place of transformational work to occur. We're intending to make some changes to our thinking patterns, and have been brought here to receive higher support for our efforts. In this environment, charged with healing energy, all of our positive efforts can be amplified and accelerated, making it easier for changes within us to occur. Our desire to make our inner climate a more positive and loving one is in alignment with higher will, and because of that, assistance and support is being offered. However, much of the work is still up to us, and it's time to get started. To begin, observe ourselves in the world below. In a typical situation in your daily routine, as you're engaged in a neutral or positive line of thought. Imagine the colors in our energetic field, and we'll see that they're clear, beautiful, and bright. Imagine the vibrational sound within our field, and we'll notice it's gentle, resonant, and harmonic. And observe the feeling that seems to permeate our being, and notice that it's warm and uplifting. Now observe yourself as we're engaged in a negative line of thought. Imagine the colors in our energetic field, and we'll see that they're dark, muddy, and unappealing. Imagine the vibrational sound within our field, and we'll notice it's harsh, dissonant, and unpleasant. And observe the feeling that seems to permeate us, and we'll notice it's abrasive and uncomfortable. We've just gotten a brief glimpse into the way our thoughts influence our inner climate. Now we're going to do something that will help us make a shift. Call to mind a physical object and make sure this is something we like, something that has positive associations for us. We'll be using this object as a symbol to help remind us to keep a positive focus. It could be as simple as a candle, a piece of jewelry, or a book. Envision that object. Feel its presence and send it right down into our life below so it rests comfortably somewhere inside our energetic field. Envision it there within our field, surrounded and glowing with our favorite color of light, and making a sound that you find very pleasing. Take a moment to use our imagination, focus upon this, see it clearly, and feel it strongly within us. Now, once again, observe ourselves as we're engaged in a line of thought that's negative. Notice again that our energetic field begins to take on colors that are dark and muddy, sounds that are dissonant and grating, and feelings that are uncomfortable. But notice the object we've just placed in your energetic field is beginning to glow with that favorite color of light, brighter and brighter, and gradually making a sound we find very pleasing. The object continues to brighten and sound louder, almost like an inner alarm clock, until it catches our attention. And as soon as we notice it, we realize we're in the midst of a negative line of thought and immediately begin to change it. Take a few moments to use our imagination and envision ourselves in several different situations as this symbolic object catches our attention, helps us recognize negativity, and begin to make a shift. Bring our awareness once again to our presence in the sanctuary of light. When we find ourselves in negativity, it would help to have some positive thought patterns readily available so we can easily make a shift. And that's what we're going to work on next. The energy surrounding us now shifts to a higher frequency as the second stage of this process begins. Call to mind one scene from our life when we have felt comfortable and happy, and imagine we're in that scene. See, feel, and hear that scene, and make it as real as possible. Hold out our hand with our palm facing upward. At the peak of your experience, curl your first two fingers and press them into the pad of your thumb. Do this physically so you'll have tactile sensation. That scene is now programmed into our system, as if we are programming a remote control for a TV. Call to mind another scene from our life when we felt comfortable and happy, and imagine we're in that scene. See, feel, and hear it, and make it as real as we can. Hold out your hand, and at the peak of your experience, press your fingers into the pad of our thumb. The second scene is now programmed into our system. And call to mind one more scene from our life when we felt comfortable and happy, and imagine we're there. Make it as real within us as possible. Press our fingers and press into the pad of our thumb. The third scene is now programmed into our system. Now, take a few moments to practice calling forth each of the three scenes by pressing our finger to the pad of our thumb, one after another, switching as we go. Make each scene as real as possible. Observe ourselves once again in the world below, engaged in a negative line of thought. Notice again the dark, muddy colors, the dissonant sounds, and the uncomfortable feelings in our energetic field. And see that our symbolic object begins to glow with that favorite color of light, ringing with a pleasing sound until it catches our attention. And as soon as we notice it, we realize that we're in the midst of a negative line of thought and begin to change it. This time you access our remote control, pressing our finger to our thumb pad, and immediately switch to one of the positive scenes we've programmed in. Take a few moments to go through this experience again and practice, switching from a negative line of thought to a positive scene. From now on, it will be our responsibility to become more aware of the thoughts we hold, recognize when they're negative, and make a switch. By doing this, we'll enjoy all the benefits of maintaining a positive inner climate and attracting to ourselves all that is positive. It will soon be time to bring this journey to a close. So take a moment to thank the support that's all around us, and to thank ourselves for giving ourselves this gift. I'm taking a big inhale, filling up the lungs. And a long exhale. And I'll go. And we can start to slowly invite Small movements, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Maybe start to bring in bigger movement through the elbows and the knees, maybe through the hips. Starting to bring ourselves back into the physical space as we blink those eyes open. And no rush at all, but we find ourselves onto our side body, into a fetal position. And allowing ourselves to come up to an easy seated position, allowing the head to be the last thing that arrives. Feeling that energetic flow from the top of the head all the way down through the spine. Bringing the hands to heart center, feeling our heartbeat, and having gratitude for being here together today. Bringing our hands down to the earth in front of us as a reminder that we are connected to everyone and everything that has walked on this planet. Bringing ourselves back up into that heart space, hands together, feeling our heartbeat, space of compassion and gratitude for ourselves and for others. Opening the palms up towards the sky as a reminder that we are a part of this universe, and all of that wisdom and power and gratitude and love gets funneled right back into our own heart space, feeling our heartbeat. And in this moment, let's repeat our intention that we have set for our day. So when we step off of our mat, we go about our day with awareness, with responsibility, with love for ourselves and others. Bringing our hands up to the third eye. Enlighten me, honors the light in you. Namaste.